Definitely. All right. Well, now that we got all the tooth questions out of the way, the hard stuff.
Yeah.
The main reason that I'm here is I actually wanted to talk about the VSAP program.
VSAP.
Oh, I'm having a brain freeze here. The community of churches working together.
Okay. As part of the city's program?
Right, yeah, I thought that was real progressive of Valpo
Mhm.
to do, to kind of get church, like a faith-based initiative going to combat, alcohol and drug abuse. Because often you hear the clinical and that type of thing, so.
Sure.
I don't know, like, kind of where that idea originated or how that got off the ground, or.
But I can't get into a lot of detail of it because I'm not managing that. But
Okay.
I can certainly describe how we came up with that concept
Yeah.
of including the faith-based organizations, churches and such with it. It started in some time ago. Well, it was 2009. We're sitting as a city leadership team and we're doing our master plan process. And at the very end, we're all done, we're all wrapping up, we're all excited. It's been a full day, lots of good stuff. And Dave Nondorf, the fire chief, said, "Mayor, what are we going to do about all the kids that are overdosing on drugs in our community?" And we all just it was kind of a sober statement, and we all just went, well, we're not done yet. So we all sat back down. And the thing is, we've known it's been a problem. It's not our core competency. We don't know how to manage this. It's just not what we do. We can pick up trash and plow snow and fix things and do stuff in the city, fight fires and arrest bad people. But how do we do this? And so we sat around and talked about that. If we're going to tackle this, it can't be the city. Because the city's approach is to arrest them. That's not the answer. The answer is to prevent it. And so we decided to employ or work with other groups and figuring if we put the right people together, we could have a multi-prong approach to substance abuse in our community. So we agreed that we would sit down in a smaller group and work on some of these details and put it together. Now, and I see if I can remember them all. Faith-based, schools, work with Porter Stark, businesses, and then groups like Frontline. Though we're not necessarily into treatment. That's not necessarily where we want to go. We want to prevent the problem, but treatment is an aspect of it. And so we decided that we needed to put together groups. In fact, the business-based group just met not long ago, and talking about the components that are necessary for a business, to prevent drug abuse. And so what they're doing is simply sitting there and saying, if a small business, which is 80% of the business community, a small business, doesn't have a drug abuse policy, we'll help them build one. If they don't have testing procedures because they think it's too expensive on pre-employment or during employment, random testing, we'll help them with that. So we sat down and when we did a survey and sent it out to the Chamber of Business community, got 141 responses. We thought it was a phenomenal response out of 700 to 800 businesses in the community, and they're small businesses, so we know the big guys have it. It's just the small businesses, so we felt really good about that. So they're developing these things as a service to their members and the business community as a whole to say, if you don't have these, we think it's important and we encourage you and we'll help you put it together and try to save you money in the process. It can't be just one approach. We can't just put it on the police. We can't say it's a social issue that our schools have to fix. It's something we all have to work on. So working with Porter Stark, they had numbers to back up the drug problem in the county. And so we sat down and worked with them and developed a program through the schools. And it took a sales approach to the schools because, yeah, they got their own stuff going, and rightly so. They can't be saddled with all the social issues. They're not responsible for that. They're responsible for education. But who else has the contact with the kids? What Porter Stark's studies have said is that it's basically middle school kids. That's where it starts. And if we can work with middle school kids on life skill programs, then and every kid that doesn't use drugs in middle school is likely not to ever use drugs in high school. Every kid that doesn't use drugs in high school is not likely to use drugs as an adult. So if we get to them early and say, yes, it's tough being a teenager or early preteen in middle school, yes, there's pressures, yes, mom and dad, yes, peer pressure, all these things that are going to come down on you, yes, there's, hormonal issues going on, but if we can help you deal with those things, we think we can make a huge difference in going forward. And the schools agreed, and so they signed on. And that's, it's too early to tell. We said we want to study that effect in 3 years as these kids are moving up into high school and so on. So we want to keep tracking it and seeing if we're having a positive effect. There's a lot of programs out there we don't think have much effect, but there are a lot of them out there that do. Frontline does a great job. Amber and John are amazing at what they've come up with and what they developed, and it's good stuff. They got good people, and they work hard to help treat people with drug issues. So that's how it's all kind of come together. Faith-based, when we studied this, we said, if we're going to go at the middle school kids, we don't want to just say, that's it, okay? We have to give a consistent message through the community. So if you're little Jimmy and you're in the park soccer program, then you go to the Y and you're in that program, and you go to the Boys and Girls Club, and then you go to church, wherever you go in the community, we want you to hear stuff that's going to support you and build you up as a person, and encourage you not to do drugs, and show you where to turn if you have a problem. Prior to or even during, or if you have a problem, but certainly who do you turn to if you have a problem? And so those are the things that we've been working on. We pulled some faith-based people together, some ministers. We have one that leads the charge, that organizes it. He's doing a great job. He's slowly getting the messages out into the churches. Churches are slowly buying into it. Every time you have a success, it builds off of and going forward. It helps with more success and development. So faith-based was big, but when they're in the parks, the park programs are encouraging kids and supporting kids, Boys and Girls Club, YMCA, whatever the program, we want to